We're going to look into that later. Then we move on to the decoder tab, and this is one of the most useful tabs it has. Why? Because you don't have to keep switching windows, and that again saves milliseconds. Milliseconds matter in my opinion. In this tab, say for example, I find a base 64 encoded value and I want to decode it. I'm not going to have to go back to a web browser, look for a base 64 decoder. No, I can just do that in here. I have my decoder available. So what I can do is I have specific texts, like for example test. If I want to encode this as a base 64, I can just click encode as base 64 and it's going to do that for me. Now you'll notice that my text has gotten a specific color, and that color will always be the color that is matching which specific algorithm I picked in here. If I want to binary do that, that's possible. If I want to encode it as ASCII hex, that's possible. I can select anything from this list and it's going to color my specific value. Now I can also encode it multiple times, so I can encode it as a hexadecimal value again, which is not going to do much of course. I can encode this as an ASCII value, then I can encode it as HTML, there we go, and then we can start decoding again. So we can start decoding as HTML, decode as ASCII hex, and then decode as base 64. And we have our original text again. Now that is something that a real-life translation thing like Google Translate cannot do. Try doing that. Enter like a search query and then search for it. Like for example, enter test or something in your language and then translate it into 20 languages, and then translate it back to your language. Google Translate cannot do this, but Burp Suite Decoder can. So extremely useful tool in my opinion. You can see that sometimes the text color changes, sometimes the background color changes. If the text color changes, that means it's encoded as. If the background color changes, it means it's decoded as. So you'll notice that these colors match whatever's in here in this list. And you can also hash your values as well, of course. Now, one thing you do have to note is that for these hashing values, you can see that they go for a gradient. It's from light gray to dark gray, and it's basically the heaviness of the encryption algorithm, I think, or something like that. But it's not color coded the same way. Now you can also smart decode, of course. That's also possible. So we can smart decode in here. I haven't seen that work yet. I don't know how it works. So if anybody knows, please let me know. That is not something that is very useful for me. I usually try to do it myself.